Okay, I'm here to talk about the Philly special, aka Philly, the trick play the Eagles ran in the second quarter of their 2018 shock Super Bowl victory over the New England Patriots. I have thought about this play a lot since it happened because it kind of changed my sports watching life. Up until this point, I experienced one World Series victory that happened over the course of 2 nights for the Philadelphia Phillies, but I'd otherwise never really consciously experienced a sports championship for a Philadelphia team. There was one in 1980, but I was 3. I don't really remember it. So for most of my life, it was always the bridesmaid for Philadelphia. Not quite as depressing as being a Cleveland Browns fan, maybe, but, it was still pretty dark. And when you consider the amount of psychological investment the city of Philadelphia and Philadelphia sports fans put into the Eagles, by far the number one team in the city, by far a 12-month-a-year project is to just think about the team, think about the coaches, second guess the coaches, wonder who they're going to draft, who can they get in free agency, how can they improve, how did we screw up that game against Tampa Bay, all this stuff. It was like the clouds parted when this happened because they're not supposed to be in this game. Carson Wentz that season was basically an MVP candidate, breaks his leg. Nick Foles comes in. Foles is like this journeyman backup. And it's important to remember who actually executes this trick play, where it's Corey Clement, a third-string backup running back, tossing it to Trey Burton, who's a backup tight end, throwing a wobbly pass to the quarterback on 4th and goal to Nick Foles, who has to jump up in the air and catch it, even though he's wide open. That when that happened, it actually felt like, okay, maybe this is real. Maybe I'm not dreaming. Because at that point, I think the Eagles were up by like 10 points maybe on the Patriots. And you're just going to assume after that Falcons-Patriots Super Bowl that you're never, ever going to be safe again. That something is going to happen where Tom Brady is going to march down the field 15 times and kill you. So this was the first moment, I think, in this game that I really started to believe. I don't think I truly believed until Brandon Graham's strip sack on Tom Brady towards the end of the game. But this was the moment that I started to let myself think about the Eagles being a Super Bowl champion. I love how casual this is. I love how Nick Foles and Doug Peterson, who are in a Super Bowl, again, against the Patriots, again, are discussing a trick play to run on 4th and goal, and it seems like an idea that randomly occurs to Nick Foles that his head coach goes along with. It's like, Philly, pause. Yeah, okay, let's run it. And then he goes into the huddle. He says Philly special. Nobody in the huddle even flinches. Like, you'd think maybe like a wide receiver would stand up a little bit and be like, we're not gonna try and maybe do a post or, rub route, maybe get it into one of our playmakers' hands. Like, no, we're gonna do the backup running back tosses it to the backup tight end who throws it to the backup quarterback in the Super Bowl. But somehow it worked, and maybe it worked because nobody would have guessed that something like that could happen. What's it meant to like sporting life in Philadelphia since this happened? It's funny because the Eagles just won the Super Bowl this year in a dominant fashion over an equally imposing, foe in Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs looking for a three-peat. And I've said this a couple of times to people on podcasts and stuff, but I found that to be like more satisfying. It was proof of concept. It was like the Eagles were one of the best teams in the NFL. They were underrated probably going into the postseason. Jalen Hurts was obviously somewhat disrespected by the media kind of conversational take world about like where he ranks in the upper echelon of quarterbacks. And even after going to a Super Bowl and winning a Super Bowl, he's probably still not considered a top 5 quarterback. But that was really satisfying to watch them beat the Chiefs. That has no comparison to what happened in 2018. In 2018, people say my soul left my body. My soul left my body. It's on Instagram. Like, I was screaming at the top of my lungs. I was cursing out the Patriots. It was like my most primal sporting experience. And to have it be something that was like a victory, another one of the moments in our package about the great moments in sports this century is about Kawhi Leonard hitting a triple bounce jump shot to beat the Sixers in Game 7 of the second round of the Eastern Conference Finals. It would happen the next year. That was sort of like the negative reaction of the positive reaction of the Eagles game. But the Eagles winning the Super Bowl kind of gives you a new lease on sports life. I hope everybody gets to experience something like this where you get to a certain point in your life and you're like, God, man, like I really put a lot of time into this. And somewhere deep down, it's supposed to be fun. And yeah, there are ways in which losing can be fun or losing can be morally kind of, you had a moral victory even if you didn't win on the scoreboard. But this felt like all of it was worth it. Like, this is why you stick with it. This is why you watch the bad teams. This is why you suffer through, 17-7 doldrums games in the dog days of the season. And this is why you care about who they draft in the 6th round, because that guy's Jason Kelce. So this was definitely the best sporting moment of my life, and changed my sports watching life ever since then.